Let's do it.
All right. So, welcome back to the Dynasty Football Maniacs. So, in the last episode, we covered free agency on the offensive side of the ball. Um, Today, we are going to talk about defense side. So, yes, this show is going to have a little bit of IDP in it. If you've not played an IDP fantasy league, it's a little different. So, most people just play offensive side and draft a defensive team. We go as far as drafting individual defensive players. And
Oh, yeah.
our leagues love defensive players. So they score just as good as that offensive side. So if you have a good defensive side, you can win championships. But you still need to have a decent offensive side to do it, just like in the NFL. So we play the defensive positions are your DL, which consists of your defensive ends and your defensive tackles, and then your linebackers, and then you have defensive backs, which consist of your cornerbacks and your safeties. Now, a lot of your DLs will also play linebacker position. That's the nice thing about defense. A lot of these players and the linebackers are also dual playing defensive ends. So when you get that good player that swaps in and out, like a Micah Parsons or players like that, Patrick Queen, they're good players to have because they got that dual position. So you can build your roster on that. So defensive players are very important in our fantasy dynasty leagues. So we are going to
Wow.
cover where these free agents are going to land, the ones we picked, just like we did in the last episode with the offensive player. We're going to do 7 players. And I am going to give the floor to Austin to do the question for the show.
All right. So I thought this was a good one, and it's a very good water tank talking. When you get to work on Mondays, you just chit chatting before you actually get deep into work. But the question of the episode, I want everyone to put it down on the comments. I want to hear your opinions of what you think about this question and all the questions that we have going forward on any topic, on anything. Just message that you can just say, "Hey, how's it going? Keep up the good work," or you know, just give us your opinions. We would like to hear them. But the question of the episode is if, which is a good possibility from what I've heard, but if the Patriots do trade Mac Jones, where do you think his biggest destination will be? So,
Mm,
where do you think Mac Jones' number one spot to be traded if the Patriots do trade him?
I'm going to throw one out there real quick. It just popped in my head looking at all these
Okay,
names and
okay,
teams and needs and stuff. And I
do
don't
it.
I'm a big fan of the quarterback that's there right now, but he's young too. And I believe I've seen Mac Jones shine when he's in the right offense. He has abilities, and I know he struggled there in New England for whatever went on there. I honestly think the Raiders would be a good trading.
Okay, I didn't
I
see that
just
coming.
that just hit me, and I said, what if Mac Jones goes to the Raiders? That could change up. Now they would have to get. I mean, I honestly could see that. I mean, they still got Devontae Adams. I'm
They have
sorry.
they have they have Jacoby Myers.
Yeah.
They have Michael Mayer, and potentially Josh Jacobs could stay back there if they wanted to. But that's in the last episode we talked about. Listen to that if you want to hear our destinations for Josh Jacobs.
Yes. All right. So
But
you can start off with the definitely comment. Let us know where you think Mac Jones is going.
I want to throw mine out there real quick,
All right.
and I believe I believe he would be especially by the way he wants to run the team. I believe he'd be a good fit in with Sean Payton in Denver.
Mm,
I think them two would be a better fit for each other than him and than Sean Payton and Russell Wilson. So
okay.
I think if you get Mac Jones to Sean Payton, with that offense. They could draft another receiver, but they still have the meantime. In the meantime, they still have Jerry Judy and Cortland Sutton. Now that could change from here to now, but that's what we have right now. But I still think it would be a pretty good fit, especially with them two meshing with each other. But yeah, we'll start off this the top seven defensive players of where we think they're going to go in the free agency. And I'm going to start with, I'm going to go ahead and get the big boy out of the way, Chris Jones.
Okay.
I uh I don't see him going back to the Chiefs.
Really?
I I really don't see him going back to the Chiefs because he had that holdout last year, and so he got a pretty decent deal for the 1 year he played because they only gave him like a 1 year deal extension. But he didn't want to play on the franchise tag, and he wants to have a pretty good big contract, not like super big, but what he thinks he deserves. And I don't think it's with the Chiefs. I believe that the first team, now you can call me crazy on this, but I think a good fit would probably be somewhere like the first one would be Denver. I think Denver needs a defensive tackle.
All right.
So, and that would bolster up the defense for the Broncos, and they would basically hurt Kansas City because they would make their life a little bit more difficult trying to run the ball if he was on the enemy's side.
Oh yeah.
So now my second pick, this one this one could be a little bit of a curveball, but I believe I believe he would be a great fit with the Bears. I
Okay.
believe, especially with that defensive line with Montez Sweat, which still is crazy to me. The Commanders traded Montez Sweat, but I believe he would be a good fit with the Bears as well. And my third one might also be a little bit of a curveball, but I'd say the New York Jets, especially when you have Quentin Williams on that defensive line. You could definitely bolster the defensive line for the Jets to stop the run. And I think that would make a very great nice spot for Chris Jones.
Yes, I think any one of them three teams would be a nice fit. I honestly think Kansas City will come up with another deal, but I could see him going to any of them
Mm.
teams.
Yeah, yeah. So who do you got as your number one?
I have Chase Young for San Francisco. So
Spicy.
yes, already. So I think my number one pick, I think he's leaving San Francisco, and I have the Steelers. I'm not saying he's leaving because I do believe they could possibly come up with a deal and he'll stay with the 49ers.
Right.
But I think his landing spot's going to probably be the Steelers. I think they're trying to bolster that defense, and they need a good edge rusher, and he would really definitely help out the Steelers. My other pick was the Saints because the Saints are also needing defensive linemen. So edge rusher, and I could see him also fitting there at the Saints. I've not heard nothing about the Saints, but I did hear a rumor about the Steelers. But I also heard that they're trying to make a deal with him at the 49ers too. So I
Hmm.
honestly think it's going to come down, does he make a deal? Is it a 1 year deal, 2 year deal, or does he go ahead and leave and the Steelers pick him up? So
Right. Okay, I can see that. All right. So I'm gonna now give you my number two defensive lineman,
oh, I'm
and
ready.
it's Jonathan Greenard.
Okay.
I think he's gonna resign with the Texans. So that's my number one spot. I think that's just too much of good of a fit for him, especially with across from Will Anderson. I think that is a great duo to have on your defensive line. But another good spot, I believe, would be a good spot for him is the Atlanta Falcons
Okay.
because they need an edge. They need an edge rusher. They need to be able to you know they need to get it to the quarterback. And I think the way they bolster that up is by getting Jonathan Greenard. And now my third one is going to be the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
I believe the Buffalo Bills they also need an edge, and I think it would be very beneficial if they actually sign an edge in free agency instead of in the draft. But I think he would be a great fit for Buffalo as well.
Yeah, any of them teams would be good.
So who's your second defensive lineman?
My second defensive lineman is DJ Reader for Cincinnati.
Okay,
I do not
okay.
really think they're going to sign him, but I left him as one of the teams he could possibly go to. So he's on the back
Mm,
end, could still end up at Cincinnati. I honestly don't think they're going to get the deal done. Uh, I do see him. The Saints are looking for that defensive tackle, and there has been some rumors for that team of him actually landing there. And there was also rumors of another team he could go to. And I went ahead and listed that, and that's the Falcons. Either one of them teams would help him
okay,
out. I could think he'd really be a good fit. So it'd be interesting to see which one he goes to. So just kind of looking at these stats real quick. I mean, I think he'd be a really good fit with the Falcons more so than the Saints.
okay. I see.
So let's move on to the linebackers.
Oh, I love me some linebackers.
Who you got for a
Uh,
linebacker?
all right. So I really like this guy. I think you like him too. But
Yes, I do.
my first linebacker is Frankie Louvie. Is that how you say his last name? If I butcher your last name, I'm terribly sorry.
I believe so.
But
I thought more like
okay.
Lovey or something.
So we'll go Frankie Lovey. That sounds more right. Now I'm terribly sorry if I butcher the name, but we're gonna go with Lovey. And I it's gonna be hard for them. I don't think he's going back with the Panthers because of they also trying to work out a deal with Brian Burns. So and
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they're gonna be able to keep both players. I think it's there he's gonna go somewhere. And the one spot I think he'd be really good at is with the Cleveland Browns.
Oh yeah, I can see that bit.
They need a linebacker, and their defense has been tremendous the past few years. So I believe that he would be good with going to the Browns. And my second spot I have picked it. He would be a good fit with the Denver Broncos.
All right, so Denver it is.
And so, yeah, the Denver actually has 18 over a little over 18 million in cap space. So I think they could get a deal done to bring them in and bolster that linebacking core up.
Oh yeah.
And now my third one's is a bit the Green Bay Packers.
Okay, it's about time we brought up the Packers.
I believe that the Packers, yeah, I know. I believe that the Packers, they need to bolster up that defense. That defense didn't look too hot last year. especially in the playoff game, the defense just they needed help, and you can tell they got over 13 million, almost 14 million in cap space. I still think they can grab one of the top linebackers out of coming out of free agency this year to help up with that defense. So that being said, who is your number one linebacker?
All right, my number one, Malik Harrison for the Ravens.
Okay.
Yeah, so I honestly think the Ravens will probably end up getting a deal done. And they'll probably end up staying with the Ravens. I think there's a pretty high chance of that happening.
Okay.
Now, the two teams I picked after that, there's no rumors out there saying he would go to them. But looking at the needs chart
hmm
for the teams, I can see him going to Dallas. I think it would help Dallas's defense out. You'd be a good linebacker to line up with Michael Parsons and the rest of them. Um, the other one that I think could afford him would be the Eagles. So if the Ravens didn't get the deal done, I would hope Dallas or the Eagles would try to pick him up.
Okay. I I like that. I like that. Now, my second linebacker is a Raven.
All right.
Ironically, it's a Raven. Ironically,
A lot of
but
free agents.
I'm going with Patrick Queen. Now, I don't think Patrick Queen is going to be re-signed by the Ravens. I think I think because with Raquan there and stuff, and I think he's just going to wind up going somewhere else. So the first team I chose that they need a linebacker to help with that defense that I think would be good would be the Seattle Seahawks.
Okay.
I think he would be great with Seattle. And Seattle's got the money. Seattle's
Yeah, they
got
do.
they got over 41 million in cap space. So they should definitely sign him.
So you don't think Baltimore's going to try to keep him?
I don't think so. I
No.
I just think that he's gonna go somewhere else. Plus, there's going to be a bunch of other linebacker needy teams that are probably going to be willing to pay more
Yeah,
to
especially
get
after
to
his
grab his
performance last
services.
year.
Oh, absolutely.
But a lot of people
Now,
got to a lot of people got to put in perspective. Patrick Queen had a great year, and he's a great player. Don't get me wrong. But Raquan Smith is the one that helped him get that edge. I mean, when you have to double team a guy, that opens up other parts of the line. So
right,
a lot of the Ravens' defensive line improved with just that one player being on that team.
right. And now the third one, the second one. The second one, they have over 14 million in cap space, so they can do it. I
Okay.
think if I think if they can get if they can get the Baker Mayfield deal done where he stays, the offense is going to be set, and now you need to set your defense up. And I think Tampa Bay would be a great pick
Oh, I like
for
that.
Patrick Queen to go
I like that
because
fit.
Devin White. I haven't seen much about Devin White. I know he's due for an extension. Now, I don't know if he's going to sign an extension with him or not. I haven't seen anything, but because he's still under contract. But you also got to think Devin White is going to be possibly going somewhere else by this time next year. So why not go ahead and solidify that spot with signing Patrick Queen?
That makes sense.
Now, the third one would help this team out as well. They recently they got to get some money, which they've been construction people's contracts to make more space. But I think the Dallas Cowboys should try to get a linebacker because they need help in the linebacker core, especially with Leighton Vander Esch getting hurt and possibly his career could potentially be ending because of the neck injury. He's had that neck injury ever since he was at Boise State. So he had a neck injury that put him out for a lot of this year. So I think if you get Patrick Queen in there to run the inside while Micah runs out on the outside, I think it would help their defense tremendously.
Yeah. And I believe Vander Esch is fixing to retire. I don't know if it's this year, but I believe it's coming soon.
Right. Now, who do you have as your second linebacker?
I have Isaiah Simmons.
Oh, that's an interesting one.
So yeah, he was traded last year to the Giants from Arizona. Now he's a free agent. I want to say the Giants, they are trying to work out a deal. The last time I read, they were trying to re-sign him, so I left the Giants there as a possibility. But I also heard a rumor about the Chargers. So that would be interesting. He would be a good fit for the Chargers. And then I threw out the Eagles because of salary cap and it's one of their needs as a linebacker. So why not go after a good, already guaranteed linebacker? I know he suffered some injuries and was slowed down a little bit, but when he is there, he's one of the better ones out there. So I could see the Eagles maybe looking into him and adding him to that front line they have.
Right.
But I still
I can
believe the
see that.
Giants would probably be the ones that ends up remaining with them. Um, that's if they get the deal cut.
Okay. Okay.
So let's hear about your now in IDP. Like I said, cornerbacks and safeties are considered DBs, but you're going to be covering a cornerback, I believe, correct?
As my first pick, that is correct.
So who do you
And
have?
and he's a pretty good one. He is a Kendall Fuller.
Okay.
Um, I think he's a really good corner, and I think this team, this team needs some help in the cornerback situation. They actually need help in a lot of positions for the cornerback, but my first pick is going to be the Tennessee Titans.
Okay.
I think Tennessee needs some help. They need some help in defense, and they got the money. They got the third most cap space coming in this year's free agency, so they got the money to spend. They can do it.
Yeah.
So I believe that would be a good fit for him. Now another place that would be a good fit would be the Las Vegas Raiders.
Oh, I like that.
They they need another corner. They need help on the defense as well. So why not bolster up that secondary with a really good cornerback? Now,
Yes.
now the third one,
Oh, so you don't think he's going back to Washington at all?
I don't.
Oh, okay.
I
Okay.
I don't think he's gonna go back.
All right. So who's your third one? I'm ready for this.
All right. They've they used to have a really good cornerback a couple years ago. Played for them. Yeah, for Patrick Peterson. He played for them a couple of years ago before he went to the Steelers last year. But I believe the third place that was good for him would be the Minnesota Vikings.
Oh, I already like that.
The Vikings, they definitely need help,
Yes.
especially because Brian Harrison or their safety, Harrison Smith. Harrison Smith is getting older. Now he's a safety, I know that, but they still need help in the secondary. So that's why I think they should get Kendall Fuller because that'll definitely help them out. Now, if they just need to get their quarterback situation figured out on what they want to do, but I believe Minnesota could be a great team if, especially if they bolster up that secondary.
And I think they're almost there. I believe right now their defense currently is a lot better than they had. And I think if Kirk Cousin hadn't got hurt last year, I think we'd have seen a lot more out of Minnesota. Um,
Right.
that's the key. Him staying healthy or staying with the team, them getting that quarterback. What quarterback are they going to go into 2024 with? And touching up a little bit of the defensive portions of it. You can't say that team is, they're always one of them teams that's always a contender and at any time could go over there and take it. You know, the teams that are contenders and the ones that are not for the year. And Minnesota's always up there in the top. I mean, they're always competing, even though they're always the second team. One of these years, they're going to, that's going to be the team, and we're going to see it again.
Right. All right. So who do you got?
I do also have a cornerback, Eli Apple for Miami.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, I
Okay.
I I left Miami on the board. I think there could be a slight, slim chance that Miami signs him again, but I have a strong feeling they're not. Now, I've not heard no rumors of where he would go, so I went to that list that they put out for NFL needs for the teams for 2024. It's on the NFL official site, so you can see which the teams are looking for in the draft or free agency. And there's a lot of people out there looking for cornerbacks. So as I went through that list, I picked the two teams I think would be a good fit for Eli. I believe the Falcons would be a good fit. Him going there, that would help out that secondary. And I also picked Denver. So if he doesn't sign with Miami, I'm hoping he lands at one of them. Won't know until I think, well, March 13th. Well, I think what, March 11th, they can start talking to people, right? Isn't that how that
They
works?
call it they call it legal tampering.
Yeah, the legal tampering period before the official release. So
That's
I think,
that's a terrible name.
yeah, I know.
That's a terrible name.
So I, I'd be interested to hear on the 11th if there's any tampering with Eli Apple. But right now,
Right.
looking at the needs charts and looking what the teams are truly looking for, what I could find out there, the Falcons and Denver would probably be good teams, good landing spots for him.
Okay. Okay. So my second person in this group is actually a safety. And I'm going to go with Chauncey Gardner Johnson.
Yes. I already like the guy.
Now,
Put him on a good
I
team. I need his points. Okay.
I, bel I believe he's going to stay with the Lions.
I had a feeling you were going to say that. And I don't even know
I
why I took the lines out of it.
I mean, that's just a good place to stay. You got Dan Campbell who wants to go around biting everyone's kneecaps, you know, showing the Hulkamania is still out there, brother. You know, um, I think it's just still a good fit. But there's my second team is also a really good fit that I think you will agree with,
All right. Let me hear it.
and it's the Buffalo Bills.
Yes. I like it. The
They
Bills
got
would
rid
be.
they got rid of Jordan Poyer. They
Mm-hmm.
need to they need to fill up that spot. And what better way you do it is to slap him right where Jordan Poyer was.
Oh, yeah. That would be
I
good.
mean, that is that is perfect. So you can go honestly either way with that. Now my third one.
All right.
My third one, you may like this, you might not like this.
Keep in mind, he's on my team. So it has to be a good team.
I think it would be a good fit is the Seattle Seahawks.
Yes.
They need a safety.
They do.
They need a lot. They need help on that defense, and they need a safety. So I think it would be a great fit, especially how in the past few years they got really young corners who are absolutely outstanding in my opinion. They've hit the nail on a couple of them in the draft this past year. So add a veteran safety back there, and you got something cooking right there.
Yeah. So talking about Detroit, we're going to talk about another Detroit player that's a safety, and
Okay.
that's Tracy Walker the third. Now,
Okay.
before CJ and Brian Branch got there, that was the man.
Hmm.
But Brian Branch come out and did his thing, and CJ is CJ.
All right.
That took that position away. And I know Tracy got hurt, and he was already kind of in the backfield for a little bit. So it's kind of hard to just come back in and you got two-star players like that there on the field. So there he is left as the backup safety. Because of free agents this year, I've not heard anything about the Lions wanting to resign him. I don't think he's going to stay with the Lions. I think he is going to move on. I honestly think what they have there, they're good. And I think Tracy's going to go to a team that's going to want him to play. So the first team that I picked, and there's only one team. I'll tell you when I get to that team that's rumored, but I really don't want him to go to that. Well, I mean, I wouldn't mind him going to that team because he's also on my team. Uh, I, I would like to see him go to the Jets. So
Okay.
I think he would be a good fit for the
Okay.
Jets. I think he still has that talent to be a top safety. Um, and I think the Jets would be a good fit. The rumor I heard, or not heard, I read, was the Chargers. He would be a good fit at the Chargers too. Don't get me wrong. I was more excited for the
Ooh.
Jets than the
Okay.
Chargers, but the Chargers he could also have a starting role. And then for the third team I picked for him as a landing spot, and there I had to revert back to my list. Well, the needs. I wanted to make sure when I picked a team they were going to land on, the team actually needed that position.
Right.
And there's a lot that needs safeties, but out of all the teams I looked through and people available and the rumors that you're hearing and reading, I thought a good fit would be Tampa. Throw them down there with the Bucks. That would really
Okay.
spruce up that whole defense, and it would definitely help them out. It'd make it a little deeper. So
Okay.
that's the three teams I picked for him.
I don't want. I like every single one of them.
All right. So who's your other safety that you have?
Well, my other safety that I have is Xavier McKinney.
Okay.
Now, we got you could also have arguments for all the ones that I said for Chauncey Gardner Johnson as well, but I think we're gonna do a couple of different ones because they got they got a little bit of money to play with. So first, as I look at the really needy teams for safety, I think I think a good spot would be the first one would be Indianapolis Colts.
Oh yeah.
That one that
That
one that one really speaks to me. I think
yeah,
it'd
I've
be
kind of
a
left them out. And yes, you're right. They would be they're in need for a safety and they were on the list.
right. So I think that would be a great spot. Now another good spot that really spoke to me as well was the Cincinnati Bengals.
Okay. Okay.
They need a safety as well. They need somebody who can go out there and not only cover but go in there and tackle on the inside if the receiver comes in for a drag route or something. So I believe Cincinnati Bengals will be a great fit as well. And I just love I just like the third spot. I think the Buffalo Bills could also have him as well.
Okay.
I think
That's that's
because
heavy on their needs.
that's really heavy on their knees. So I think if they don't go out there and get Chauncey Gardner Johnson, they could definitely go out there and get Xavier McKinney because
Yep.
he's already in New York, so New Jersey area. So all he has to do is just go to Buffalo, and it's not that far. So I think that would be another great fit.
I can see that. I like that. I'm really hoping it's yeah. Either one of them teams would be a good fit. I'm kind of in agreement. I don't think the Giants are going to re-sign them.
Right.
So going on to mine, I also picked another safety, and I picked Jeremy Chin from the Panthers. And the reason
Okay.
why is because kind of same thoughts you had when you picked Love. Burns, they're signing that big contract with Burns, and they're going to keep him. And they're going to cut. They're rebuilding. We all know the Panthers are rebuilding right now. And I
Hmm.
honestly think they're going to let him go. And I did read a rumor about Buffalo. So I put Buffalo as my top choice of where he would land. The other rumor I read was the Rams. So that would also be another good fit for him. So that's exciting to see him
Yeah.
going to either one of them teams,
Yeah.
Buffalo or the Rams.
I like that.
I do too. And then the third one I had to reach. I didn't want to put the Panthers back in that spot because I don't think he's going to go back to the Panthers. I don't think they're going to cut a deal. I think they're going to release him. So I left the Panthers out of my three choices, and I went with the Bucks again because I know the Bucks need a safety. I guess that's
Okay.
so I threw the Bucks out there. There's so many teams to choose from that need a safety. I think I counted like out of 32 teams, I believe it was something like 22 of them needed safeties. And here I am. I'm constantly picking Tampa. Why? I don't know what. I know why. Because I believe Tampa's going to go on that roll again with Baker Mayfield and Evans.
Uh, uh,
Oh, that's a little bit too much for everybody to handle at the end of the episode, right?
okay, look, I
We were
get it.
doing good up until that point, and then here,
I
no, I'm not a Tampa fan, so don't start thinking I'm
no,
that Buccaneer.
you're a Baker Mayfield guy.
Yeah, I'm glad he finally got his niche. I mean, I think they down him too much. He did great in college. I didn't like what he did. His attitude I didn't like. And when he played college ball, he was probably the most hated player by me. And there's reasons why. And I'm not going to go into that.
Mhm.
But when he went to the NFL, I thought he did a great job with the Browns. He just couldn't get that maturity level to hold it together. And I think that's what the Browns couldn't deal with. That front office couldn't handle his immaturity. Whatever was going in that office, it wasn't good. And that's why he left. And nothing to knock the Panthers, but I can already see and read and watch of all the stuff that's happened at the Panthers between the coaches. I mean,
I think they need a new owner, in my opinion.
I think that's where it needs to go is maybe the owner needs to you know how Washington finally got rid of their owner? I think
Oh,
the
yeah.
Panthers need to consider that because the
It
last couple
ain't
of
pretty.
years has been, yeah, it's not been pretty. I mean, it's been wow. I don't know
Right.
what to say. I mean, Matt Rue, and then who was the last coach that got rid of Frank Wright? I mean,
Yep. It didn't even last a whole year.
didn't even last a whole year. Didn't even get, and I honestly think I don't know why it didn't work. And I feel sorry right now for any players. The Panthers are looking like what the Browns look like for that little stint where the Browns went, oh, and 16-year-old, 17, whatever it was.
Well,
It's like
that
I remember reading a story saying there was a local place there was going to buy everybody a beer if they won. I was like, wow, I need to move to Cleveland.
I think I think if the Panthers just have a stable ground, they can get back on their feet. But I think it. I think the owner just needs to. I think the owner either needs to chill out or get out.
Yeah.
I think that's just how it. I just think that's how I see it.
And I honestly believe right now they're in the process of revamping altogether, and I don't know if that's going to help the Panthers or what it's going to do. They're losing a lot of good defensive players and offensive players in this process. But these players here, I believe if they go to other places, will shine and be very good. So I mean, I like the rumor about the Rams more than the Buffalo, but I honestly believe Buffalo will probably get the deal done. But only time will see. So when we do this recap, we did 7 offensive and 7 defenses in the last 2 episodes. Now it's official for free agency the 13th of March. Tampering is the 11th. So some of the rumors are going to come in. I guess we won't be able to do the recap until the start of the season because a lot of this could all go to the end of the season. I mean, if you remember last year when these running backs hit, some of them didn't get signed until preseason, like
And
Zeke Elliott and stuff. I mean, so I think our recap will probably be like the first week of the NFL season. What do you think?
well, it all depends on if all the players we talk about actually sign a deal or something. If if we're like in August and everyone's done signed a deal, even the ones that you called out were backups, then I think we can go sooner.
Oh, I
But if
agree. I agree. If
but
everybody on
but
our list
it
is done,
it just all depends on where everyone goes on our list.
I'm
Now
good with that.
now we need to remind everybody that we have a big special event coming around draft time, and we're going to be doing a live reaction event for the NFL draft, and we're going to be doing the first round on April the 25th, which I am very excited for.
Excited for that too to do that. I just had an issue with the Excel sheet. It said it did not save. I was like, oh no.
But I think that should cover most of it.
So yes, we got that live show coming up for the draft. So I'm looking forward to that. Definitely comment on the questions that we threw down there these last 2 episodes. We'd like to hear your input where you think Mac Jones is going to go as a quarterback. Would be very interested and just drop anything. Just say you guys doing a great job or really don't understand anything you're saying. Any of that would be fine. Um, if you like what you are listening to, hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe, and please share us. We try to spread us around and get our name out there.
Because sharing is caring.
That is right. Sharing is caring.